Hello, everyone. My name is Tucker, and welcome back to our Russian Fishing for Float Fishing series. So, today I logged in, traveled back over to Old Burg, and bought another 10 pieces pearl barley, poured them out. Unfortunately, I failed twice on them, but we did get our bait harvesting up, as you see here, to 29.1 on those 10. So, don't know how you fail pouring barley into a dish, but I did twice. So today, I've been looking at the VK site and seeing a few things that are interesting. So 3156 actually showed up 3 different times on there in the past 24 hours as being a very active spot. So it's here off this dock. Um, really clips of 12 or 15, which for float, we're obviously not going to be able to get out quite that far. But folks have been coming here for bream and for roaches, it looks like. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put the bottom rod here on a 12. We'll put a size 1 hook on. Actually, we don't have one. We'll put a one hot hook. Actually, I want the size 4 hook on this with pearl barley. I'll put the big hooks on the float rods. We'll cast that out there. I did not put any ground bait in. Actually, I'm going to go back and see if I can't grab stuff to make roach ground bait as I get stuck on that little dock. I was thinking I'm going to use that dock to get a little bit more distance on my float rods since I can't quite get 12 meters out. So if you notice a little bit difference in my mic, I did turn it down a little bit. I noticed things got a little bit loud on the last video. Looks like I had bumped my gain on it. So I want to go for roach. So crackers, bloodworm, and caramel if I can. So ground bait basics would be crackers. Only going to make a couple here. And then bloodworm and caramel for the attractants. Good, I can use caramel. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to. Sounds like I got a fish on. So roach mix, make. I really wanted to go for roach, so that's what I bought supplies for. Actually, pretty decent. 6 of 10 and 7 of 10. And we've got 3 more sets of the caramel to use. I just didn't want to spend much more than that right now. Let's go see what we have on the bottom rod. Looks pretty decent. Sounds pretty decent. Like I said, on the VK site, which is basically Russian Facebook, and I'll have a link in the description. Folks have been getting bream and roach trophies here all day. Come on. There's a decent 1.7 kilo bream. A little bit late for a bream, too. So on this one, I'll go ahead and put a 1/0 with pearl barley. They were having good luck, especially going after bream using garlic dough, which unfortunately we can't make yet. Can I put a rod pod anywhere on this? Yes. And another size 1/0 with pearl barley. Ooh, it's sliding. I need to go deeper. That's my fault. Need to go much deeper here. Let's try 75 centimeters. Although we did have something bite it there at 30. Get the feeling we're going to run into that. It's impossible to put a rod pod here quite a bit. And again, I know I'm standing on a dock out in the middle of the lake, but I can dig for worms. Up to 29.2. Over on my spin fishing series today, I did a little bit of a dumb thing, but it was a little bit of fun as well too. But if you are interested in that, there is a playlist link below as well too, where went out on mosquito spin fishing for a little bit in a boat. So if you are interested in that, please feel free to go take a look at that. I typically upload that around 1 a.m. Eastern, 12 midnight Central, and then these episodes I try and have up at 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern. Is a little bit late in the day for me. I actually just finished the spin fishing recording at about 9 o'clock, so it's about 9:30 my time right now. It was a busy day at work. Crucian marker, I'll take it. Turn the friction brake down a touch. Honestly, don't know how well this is going to work on float fishing. I just remember this one's not towards the bottom. And they were mainly using size 1 hooks. I don't own a 1 hook. So, and mainly bottom fishing. And we are, if you notice, right on the edge of a deep, deep hole there. I made roach bait and I never put it on the rod, did I? Nope. You can actually see if you look up in the corner, there's the bucket icon. Shows that I don't have a bait on. So if I put my roach mix on, it'll show up now. That's how I knew I didn't put anything on it. Notice how much that line fell. That's probably down almost in that 6 meter hole. Open the rod up just to make sure it was actually down and not just floating. I still want to be grinding bait harvesting up as much as I can. I'll take 2 red worms any day, but we get up to 30, we unlock semolina, which is a good bait for gibbles and crucians, and then garlic dough at 35 is a great bait for bream, for roaches, that type of thing as well. So always want to be leveling that up as much as you can on a bottom fishing account or a float fishing account. Spin fishing, not as much because you're going to be using lures, not actual baits. Sorry to whip my head around there. I thought I saw the line moving and forgot I was zoomed in. Small fish, small chub. Not what I was expecting. See if we can go deeper. That's a decent fish. Another bream. 2 o'clock in the afternoon bream. Interesting. Usually a night fish for me. And I get down to 2 meters. 2 meter float is pretty deep. I'm seeing a bite over on 2. The 2 meters there was touching bottom, but I didn't get it out as far as I wanted to. And I missed the bite there. Look how long you have to wait for the bait to reach that 2 meter depth. Stuck. Luckily, I was close enough that I could pick the rod up. The bite over on 2 that I see. Ah, it was too late. I think it was a bream. I saw how the float was pushed way up. I didn't tighten this up. The 3 bottom rods here would probably be your best bet. I think the bite rate would be a little bit higher, and your success rate definitely would be a little bit higher. But bolognese rod would be good here, which is probably what I'm looking at next. So, bolo rod, you can put, excuse me, a bolo rod, you can put a reel on it and cast it out and then float down. So you can get out 15 meters easier. And then you can reel it in just like you would a bottom rod. I tend to like them a lot of times on the rivers because you can let it float longer and then keep an eye on it. That looks like a decent fish. 1.1 common. What was popped up there. I thought we had a fish on, but evidently not. Not having good luck today with float. We've been getting some decent bites. Just I've either missed them because I've been busy with another rod or just pulled too early. There we go. I was going to say that looked like a chub. 700-gram chub float fishing. I did catch 3 fish late yesterday and forgot to sell them, so they're actually worth nothing or like maybe a penny. I didn't include that in the episode just because they were all tiny non markers, not worth anything to begin with. And I honestly forgot about them. My internet crashed at the end of the recording as well, too. So I did record it. I've got the footage, but I had an internet crash and just gave up on it. Didn't want to include that part of it because I was no commentary or anything because I was just seeing if I could catch anything else during the day. So I did not get any real day set night. Went to about 8 a.m. I think. What? When the float fell over like that, that's usually an indication there's something on it. Frustrating. I do think getting some bolo rods are in our future. Probably want to get binoculars as well when we do that. Right now, I can zoom in once, and with binoculars, I can zoom in a second time. And if you're going to be using bolo rods and fishing further away and still having to keep an eye on a float, being able to zoom in a second time would be useful. So again, this has been a pretty big, decent bream spot for some folks. We are getting towards bream time. In my head right now, I'm thinking, do I want to reel the bottom rod in, take the roach bait off? I don't have the ability to make a bream bait that actually uses second tier components. So I can't even make a bream bait if I wanted to. Or a true bream bait. I don't like how that was. Wondering if that's why we didn't have any bites for a bit. Whoa. I don't know if you saw line 2 just shot over. Whatever's on it let go. Looks like another. Well, I was going to say it might be another common carp. That's a chub. Catching chub on pearl barley. Interesting. For me, chub are usually, in everything I see, they're usually more of a meat eater. So worms or redworm or a lot of times grasshoppers, crickets, that type of bait, not pearl barley. And since I'm going for the bigger fish, I'm going to use the floats I'm more comfortable with. I honestly don't think that's going to matter, but I recognize them better than I could do these thin floats right now. So switched over to that. Roaches and bream typically aren't cautious fish. So I'm less worried about big float scaring them off. Seeing a lot of nibbles here. Ah, pulled it out of its mouth. Getting frustrating. It was getting stuck on this dock. Actually, I had to pick the rod up to be able to move. Cage off and just go with a sinker. So no ground bait anymore. Since I can't use a bream bait, I think that's going to be what I want to do at least. Float was completely under the water, pulled it out with nothing on. Red float is float one, white float is float two. Whatever, game. I don't get it. How was there not a fish on these? I'm gonna go smaller. I'm gonna try a smaller hook. Put an 8 on here. I'm wondering if it's just they're able to push the line up and they're pushing the whole hook up, but they're actually not biting the hook or swallowing the hook. 29.3 on bait harvesting, starting to get a little cloudy out there too. Here we go. Small fish. Tiny bream. think I've caught all of 2 fish on float. For a series focused on floating, that's a little bit embarrassing, honestly. Looks like it's gonna rain now. Debating trying to go for big eel in the rain. Actually didn't look at the weather. But my first indication of it was gonna rain was when it started to rain. There we go. Tiny, tiny bream. Let's see what we can do. Let's put this one on red worm. I would like to use night crawlers, but we don't have any. It's on 1 meter. No, that's much deeper. That's why. I didn't remember making this one deeper. So I switched this over to the wad hook and red worm. I'm hoping to go for an eel on that. And then I'm going to put this one on the 8 pearl barley. Although I probably should put both of. You know what? Let's go for eel. Let's try for eel. I don't have the best bait for it, but I want to try for a big eel. This area. Do that. Both of these are set to 1 meter deep. And big hooks and red worm. I would like to use night crawlers, but I don't have any, and I'm pretty sure they're only sold in the 300 packs, so we can't afford them anyway. Marker bream. I'll take it. It is getting to be bream time. Best bets for catching eel are using night crawlers or fish pieces. Night crawlers you can dig up late with very high bait harvesting skills, or you can buy them in the store. But usually, and I don't know if they redid it recently, but usually everywhere has only the 300 pack. I'm actually going to run over and look and see. Night crawlers are expensive anyway. So 300 packs usually, I think, 150, 200 silver. So tackle store, baits, worms, night crawlers. They only have the 600 pack for 300 silver, so they're about 2 a piece. So A, can't afford them. B, not really worth it at this point for me. Another marker. Oh, just short of a marker. I lied. Looked a lot bigger than it was. Keep getting stuck on those posts. Nice bream. That'll bring in some silver. So we've been fishing a half hour. 1, 2, well, 6, 12, 14 fish in a half hour. A lot of them kind of small too, but we also haven't had a whole lot of luck float fishing either. And now we're going for a rare fish, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of luck float fishing right now. Luckily, the bream seem to be doing decent. Small, but still very early for peak bream. Again, I've got those 3 fish from last night that I forgot to sell that were worth nothing to begin with. Just saw one of the names in chat and got a giggle out of me. Uh, Entertainment value of some people online. It's starting to be nighttime. Usually, nighttime and rain are the best for eel. We'll see if we have any luck tonight. I don't know. Nighttime's also the best time for bream. It seems like garlic doe has been what the bream have been biting on here. The big bream, at least. Bream. Old Burg on garlic doe. And if that's not proof, garlic doe has been their bait so far. Random boilie and amber. Other than that, it was all garlic doe, which we can't make. You can buy it with gold, but I'm not paying real money on this account. And honestly, I wouldn't recommend paying real money for baits anyway. If you want to support the devs, definitely premium's your best bet. In my opinion, gives you bonus skill ups, bonus XP, the ability to send some items to people. Looks like a decent fish. 1.2 kilogram eyed. Not seeing a whole lot of big fish getting pulled out in chat here either. Although it's starting to get a little better. A couple of 2 kilo breams. marker bream. Four-man Jazdy broke his reel and had to cut his line. Means he oversized his line probably more than he should have and forgot about it. Or did something dumb. It's part of why I don't like to oversize my line, is at least on these starter reels, is you'll just break them. And then you have to lose your hook, lose your cage, lose your sinker, lose part of your line, and spend a lot of money repairing your gear. Not worth it. Later on, I'll feel more comfortable with it with some of the higher level reels because they do have better mech weights. But even then, you have to be careful. Looks like another marker, just barely. I think about 700 grams is the cutoff for a bream. 751 is, and I think we got a 637 is not a marker. Again, float fishing rods, I'm not surprised they're slow. We're going for eel, so rare fish, cautious fish, and we don't have ideal baits on. Love just caught a 4.5 kilo bream. That's definitely a trophy. And more than likely that was caught in this in right here. It does put you in a chat that's similar in location to where you're at. Let's try one out. Someone just caught a 4 kilo eel. Doesn't necessarily have to be right here or at Old Burg, but most likely was at Old Burg. Uh, does not look like it was a USA based account either. Or, well, it should have shown up if it was. Overall, Volkov has been popping off recently. Ooh, 4.7 kilo bream. That's what I'm trying for now with the bottom rod. Not going to hold my breath, but worth a try. Eel are definitely a night fish, and I think it even says in the description on eel, if you look them up on the Russian Fishing 4 site, that they prefer the rain. So bream typically for me slow down around now for a little bit. but then pick back up at 5 a.m. Oh, whatever that was, I just missed it. When I saw the float swim being pushed hard left, figured and being pulled down, figured there had to be something on it, but either I pulled it out or it wasn't actually on. Dang, 175-gram bleak global weekly record. A big bleak. You all remember us fishing bleak, and 100-gram bleak was a big bleak, big one. That was almost double that size. And I do look at chat quite a bit for the fish being caught. Lets you know what's being caught in your area if you're not in a chat room. Sometimes it's fun to be in a chat room because then you got like-minded people you can ask questions about, things like that. But then you're seeing what people are catching all over, not necessarily local. And getting to see the records is always fun. For Tuesday night, it seems slow on the records. Usually they're coming in quite a bit. Records reset Sunday evenings, US time. Don't think this is an eel. Oh my goodness. Nobody. Dog looked up at me there because I was getting frustrated. He's curled up pretty close to me. A little bit cold here today. We actually had our first freeze overnight and are going to have a second one tonight. And I think by Thursday it's going to be in the 80s. And I think I saw 86 on Sunday. So fall's here. Spring's not gone, or summer's not completely gone. You get a little bit of a nibble over on the bottom rod, and then it just stopped. Bottom rod heard me talking about it and thinking about tightening it up to see if there was anything on it. There's small fish on it. Is that what it is? Nope, nothing's on it. Not a trophy. Marker, but not a trophy. Not even a kilogram. Don't like that. Don't like leaving the rod bent over like that. Usually that means you've somewhat hooked the ground and won't even get a fish on. At least that's my experience. Seeing the nibbles again on two here. One just dropped like a rock and there's something on it. Not an eel though. Floatfish and chub. I missed whatever that was. It's too focused on rod two. That's one of the downsides of float fishing as well too. There's trying to watch the two at the same time and decide which one to hold on to. And whatever grabbed one didn't really nibble. It was just a full on bite and go. .2 kilo bream. Starting to get that gold outline on it. Looks like we're about 49 minutes in, 50 minutes in actually, and 23 fish. Again, I've got 3 fish from overnight that were worth nothing and are worth even less than nothing now. They've rotted away since I didn't sell them. At least we've gotten basically a fish an hour today, which for how slow in the fish we've been going on for float fishing, it's pretty decent. Switch it back over to pearl barley on one of these. We're getting to the time of day where we're not going to get a Neil. I'll keep the fluorocarbon line on eel baits until 8 o'clock, just in case, but not going to hold my breath. I'm gonna try and get some bream while I can. I'll probably switch it out after whatever this is. If we even get to figure it out. We are going to get to figure out what that is. Perch. Tiny perch. On a 1/0 hook. Two and a half is too deep. Two and a quarter. Still too deep. I know 2 was working earlier, so I expect it'll continue to work. Yep. Gets us about as close to bottom fishing as we can. Speaking of bottom fishing, let's go ahead and put roach mix back on this guy. Really what I was coming here for were the roaches. I do think coming out on this dock for float fishing was worth it. Gave us the distance we were looking for to get towards that deep hole. And yes, I know there may be something on the feeder rod, but there's at least some nibbles here. And I don't hear the feeder rod pulling drag, so it's not a super big fish. Probably a bream. Small bream, but it was a bream. Or a 1/0 hook. That was a tiny fish. Oh, that's right. I put a 12 on here. That was not a tiny fish for a 12 hook. Decent bream. Even though we've got roach mix on there. See if we can't get this cast out where it can get to the deep. Yeah, there we go. Got rod 1 at 1 meter and rod 2's at 2 meters, so the deep hole's a little bit further out that way. Another probable bream with it pushing the float up. Take it. Always trying to think about bait harvesting. Was hoping to get to 30 today there, but we'll see. Wouldn't mind buying some more pearl barley. Actually, I need to look and see what else I can make. See if there's anything I'd use. Decent fish. Marker bream. I honestly enjoy bream fishing on float. Some of my other accounts, I'll even do a lot of bolo bream fishing. It is that basically float fishing while feeder fishing because you're aiming for being just above the bottom, which this rod definitely is. It's set at 2 meters in 2 meters, 2.25 meters was too deep. Although that is almost another foot down. Coming up here on an hour. We'll pull this fish in. I think that's another chub. Yep. Another float fishing chub. And let's press F1 instead of 1. Let's get caught on the posts. And let's sit here holding our breath to see if we actually get a fish on bottom rod. I don't think we are. What's our other option for baits that we can make now? Wheat grain. Not a horrible thing. But that does require, I think, going to Winding to buy it. Oatmeal we haven't made any of. All right, let's go ahead and pick up the bottom rod. It's not going to get anything, or at least anything soon. There's nothing on it right now, I guess is what I was really trying to say. So 29 fish, 24 hours with how slow float fishing was and us trying to get an eel. I'll take you that. And yes, I know it says 32. Again, I've got three rotted fish that aren't worth anything. They weren't worth anything to begin with. Let's cafe wise. 1.2 roach. A lot of roach orders. And we didn't really catch any of them. Big chub. That's actually a trophy chub order. Nothing cafe wise. Let's go over here to the fish market. Dump these 3 worthless fish. So as far as today, the eyed we caught was worth 7. That's not too bad, honestly. Overall, 56 silver on 29 fish. Not bad. I didn't actually expect that. Bream, 29 on 19. Chub is really where we made our money. Common was less than a silver. Roach was just over a silver. Crucian was just over a silver. That eyed being at 7 was nice. Yeah, not a bad, not as bad of a day as I thought it was. I'm not going to say not a bad day, but not as bad as I thought it was. Still 50 silver in a 24-hour period where 2 rods spent the night instead of fishing fairly profitable fish trying to get a rare fish. So I'll take it. Um, didn't quite get our bait harvesting up to 30. Probably get that tomorrow and we'll go from there. No points. Probably using a bolo rig is going to be the next thing we put points into. Either that or put another point into ground bait. So I do appreciate everyone watching. Feel free to come back tomorrow. We'll be back again tomorrow. Again, I try and release this series about 8 a.m. Central every day. So look forward to seeing you back and have a good one. Bye bye now.